And we are back. Welcome to the Trainwell podcast, where we help you move more, get stronger, and have fun. Today, Darian and I get down and dirty with a common myth, and that myth is in regards to older populations and should they lift heavy, or is it bad for them? D, kick us off.
Yeah, I really love this myth primarily because when I say I love it, I hate it. I want to dispel this myth passionately. I just think every population can benefit from lifting heavy weights. It is proven that strength training, resistance training is so health promoting and usually rises to the top in terms of the benefits that you can get from exercising. Like if you were going to prioritize movements, ways to move your body, I would put strength training as number one. And that is because, and we've said it so many times, but it's worth saying again, it's not just that you're building stronger muscles, you're building stronger bones, stronger connective tissues. You are improving your stability and your balance. And the number one risk for older adults is falling. And it's not just because of what happens during the fall, it's because of what happens afterwards. If you break a bone and you're an older adult, you may not be able to repair as quickly. You might end up in a hospital where you're more susceptible to infection and illness, and things can really go downhill from there. And this is why it's so important, especially for older adults, to be training heavy loads because it's so practical and functional for real life. It's not just about living independently for longer. You can carry your groceries in, you can do your household tasks, all of that. It's also about being able to lift your own body weight off the floor in case of something like a fall. But even that fall is going to be prevented because you're training your balance and stability when you train with lifting heavy weights. So I would think, and I think where this myth comes from is the fact that we don't have a long history at this point of lifting weights as an older person. I mean, this is kind of newer to us, as this culture. It's oh yeah, strength training is actually really, really good for you. So it's not caked into our habits as a society yet, but also there's so much fear of injury with weight training specifically. And I always say any risk that you're going to have from strength training, or all the benefits you get from strength training far, far, far outweigh the risks.
Whew.
Sorry.
That's a lot to unpack.
I know. To break it down, Joey, reel me in.
Let's start. I love what you talked about independence there, because did you know, statistically, I think it's after the age of 55, you can live to 55, you do two things, just two things. If you wear your seatbelt and you don't smoke, you will make it to age 55. Past age 55, you're right, the biggest risk for injury or risk for even death, mortality is falls, because their hips can and Dan Gel always says you should always learn to fall and recover. But going on with this independence thing, I think every older adult, and let's define what older adult is, right? I agree. I think this is for everyone after the age of 35, because the rate of muscle really starts to deteriorate fast after that age. And there's
not too fast though, because I'm still rocking and rolling at 38.
Oh, yeah, that's because you lift though. That's because you lift. But guarantee if you did a DEXA year after year, you're going to see your lean body mass steadily come down a little bit, or not as much. And so after age of 35, we should be concerned about that muscle. Another myth is that we lose metabolism as we age. And that's clearly a myth, because what we lose is lean body mass. And so when you don't train, you will lose it, guaranteed. So anyways, back to my independence thing, you need good joint health. How do we get that? Through resistance training. We need balance and coordination. How do we get that? Through resistance training. We need choreographed good movements in multiple planes of motion. How do we get that? Resistance training, right? And we broke it down resistance training can be your own body weight, right? Resiliency. Independence is all a matter of how well can you be on your own, right? Can you, I trained this guy, Robert Hippler, excuse me for telling the story. Guy was 89 years old. he would chain, and he recently he lost his wife for 15, 15 brutal months of cancer. Anyways, they were married for like 70 something years, or sorry, 60 something years. Anyways, he came to me, and this is when I was training him in person. He came to me because he wanted independence. He wanted someone to hold him accountable. And he never lifted before, really. I mean, he had great genetics, don't get me wrong. But I was training him to change his linens every day, to carry laundry every day, to go grocery shopping every day. We weren't getting under the bar and squatting for max weight. We weren't doing. So when you were saying heavier, training heavy, like we have to put heavy in quotes, because heavy for him was 35 pounds down and back for some farmer carries, right? And so, anyways, my story on Robert is simply that he's still rock and roll. I wish I still trained him, but ever since stepping on the online space, he's still keep tabs on him. He's still doing the things, even if it's the same movements over and over and over. It's totally fine, because he's still trying to live independent through strength training.
Yeah, gosh, such amazing points you make, especially about putting heavy in quotes. It's just about what is heavy for you. What is a little bit challenging? What is like slightly outside of your comfort zone? And you build from there. And you can build really slowly over time. That's totally fine. And I think something to keep in mind, if you're an older adult listening, it's not ever too late. It is never too late to start strength training. And it can be as simple as starting with your body weight, because you start doing these movements with just the load of your body, practicing the movement patterns. And this goes for beginners too, but specifically because we're talking about older adults. And I think, as people age, and, not to say even old people, anybody, as you age, you start to feel, oh, it's too late. I'm too old to learn this now. You can learn anything at any time. And strength training is one of those things. So start small. Even with household objects, use like a gallon of water. Do a suitcase carry. That's when you hold the weight on one side and you just walk. Hold a gallon of water in one hand. Walk across your driveway and back and switch hands. We can start really simply here without even having to get any equipment. And once you feel more comfortable, then you can buy a set of dumbbells and bands or whatever it may be. And I would recommend, if you are brand new and you're a little bit nervous, get a trainer to help you work through these movements, to plan something for you. You will only benefit from this. There's really, as long as you're being smart and starting slow and getting help when you need it, there's really only an upside to what you're going to gain from strength training. And you're just going to feel more confident and capable. And there's nothing better than feeling capable, in my opinion.
I was going to say this. You mentioned, carry a gallon of water. A very sneaky thing I even do with older clients is perform an exercise standing, then get on the ground, perform an exercise on the ground, then get back up. This is known as peripheral heart action training, and it's for people with like bad circulation and other cardiac problems. But it's a great way to be very secretive and get strength without even thinking about it. Mm-hmm. So for instance, let's just say we start with a jumping jack or a step jack in place. Then we get on the ground, we do like just a push-up position plank or a kneeling plank. Then exercise 3, we're back up and we're doing some sort of wall sit or squat. Then we're back on the ground doing a bird dog. Going up and down off the floor, you're going to find that you're going to build this sense of resiliency that you didn't even know really existed. And you're, again, building your joint health. So try that. Another thing I want to talk about is that joint mobility and muscle hypertrophy should be everyone's goals. And let's expand on that. What I mean by joint mobility is, does the muscle have not only the access to end ranges, like for instance, like common stretch is like, you sit down, you spread your legs out, you reach, right? That's flexibility. Like you have that. But what I care about is, do you have strength through that? And so that's what resistance training does. It takes your whole body through a range of motion with strength. And the second one is muscle hypertrophy, which is basically enlargement of muscle tissue, because again, after the age 35, we lose muscle. So are you at least stimulating your body enough to promote muscle gain? Very easy to talk about and hard to do, but start with whatever you can. Again, if it's carrying gallons of water, like Darian, gallons of milk, carrying your own groceries, or if it's just getting on the floor, you're going to do those two things, even if you just start. So listeners, do not fall common to this myth that weightlifting is not for older populations.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you know what's so popular right now that I think older populations could maybe take into consideration? Because I know for my parents, my dad has a little routine he does like 3 days a week, but my mom's primary form of exercise is going on walks. And okay, that's something she's already in the habit of doing. She could simply add like ankle weights, even wrist weights, just to add a little extra load and get used to that on the body. But everyone's rucking now. My favorite joke to say when I see people rucking around town is, "What the ruck?" Get it? Anyway.
What is rucking? Tell the listener what rucking is.
It's basically doing weighted walking, weighted hiking, weighted running. You'll see people, a lot of people have like a weight vest where they can put like weights in the vest to make it different weights. But this could be as simple as putting on a backpack and putting something in the backpack that has a bit of weight to it. Anyone can do this, and it's really helping to train your core strength and adapt to a load on the body. So that is something simple I think that an older population can do. If your primary mode of exercise right now it is walking, add a little bit of weight to it. Carry something with you when you're going out for your walks. I mean, it can be so simple to get started.
You know what I want to talk or add is dancing. Because I know the myth is weight training or resistance training, but we have to accept all forms of movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a Steve Miller song out there. My grandma, she's 92. She loves to dance and sing some too. Well, I don't know, but I've been told when you dance, you never grow old. So there you go. There's a truth to expressing your movement in multiple ways. So take some dance classes, get back into my in-laws. They got it back into dance classes for our wedding years ago. And they were learning the two-step, and they were learning ballroom, and they were learning swing, all super welcome form of exercise that it may not be resistance training, right? But it's training the brain to move.
Yes.
And that in itself, those motor patterns and neurons you're firing, that is so healthy. That'll promote independence. That will promote mental health. Like we didn't talk about mental health, what movement does for mental health, right? That will promote a sense of fun and meaning back into your life. So again, you can move more, get stronger, and have fun.
Yeah, I love that point because you're right. Dancing isn't necessarily resistance training, but you're moving from one foot to the other, and you have to be coordinated. So you're training balance and stability in a way that you don't with a movement pattern you're used to, like walking. Even going on hikes, the ground is uneven. You're training your balance and stability in a different way than just walking. But the thing you touched on about like mental health, but also like your brain, you actually get smarter when you do strength training, when you move in new ways, because you're creating those new neural pathways. So this is another reason why strength training is especially good for older adults, is because of brain health as well. Because, we talk about that memory loss, some cognitive decline as we get older. And here's a great way to keep your brain like strong and healthy and firing is just simply by moving your body, and specifically moving it in different new ways, adding load to it, adding reps to it, creating new tempos. Like what the most fun way to get smarter, I think. Forget books. Who needs books?
You know what, Sue? We should talk about machines here. Like,
oh yeah.
People do rag on machines, but I love machines. You can isolate, you're in a controlled environment. And this is what Life Fitness was going for years ago in Jack LaLanne, right? Is that you would run through this circuit of machines, right? Like right when we saw the boom of commercial box gyms. And he was onto something, because when you get on a machine, like, yes, it is a controlled environment. Yes, it's not a bang for your buck with stability, right? But it's going to engage confidence. It's going to engage movement. It's going to overload muscles, and it's going to promote a very low barrier to entry that everyone can do a leg press at a certain weight, or control their depth, or a bicep curl, right? I think there's some amazing bicep curl machines out there too. shout out Atlas Strength too. So anyways, I would encourage, if you're brand new to lifting and you're older, quote unquote, start with machines. Have no fear. If you need help though, of course, as Darian mentioned, get a trainer for sure. Have him walk through the machines, or even do your research. You can be a surgeon on YouTube now. Check out YouTube if you have some questions. But yeah, I think machines play a vital role in the teaching movement, especially at an older age.
That's a solid point. I tend to forget about machines, but they really do have a place, especially for beginners and older populations. I think they're a great way to do strength training.
And I would add to that, sleds. Oh my gosh. Farmer carries. Oh my gosh. Bear crawls. If you're out there looking for better posture, okay, don't do a million band pull aparts and YTWs and all that. I mean, yes, those things have a place, but do some farmer carry. What I mean by that is grab 2 heavy weights and just walk, like I did with Robert Hippler. Darian said suitcase carriers. Because when you're holding that weight is forcing you to fold forward, and you have to organize and walk at a good upright pace. And what I will say is that posture is reflexive, right? You can listen to our corrective exercise where we talk about posture, but you can't just think about having good posture. It needs to be wired in your brain to be reflexive. And what I mean by that is it adapts quickly without even thinking about it. So grab those weights, walk tall, shoulders back.
I cannot wait for everyone listening right now, no matter what age you are, to start doing some resistance training, because the barrier to entry really is low. It doesn't have to be complicated. It really is low. Grab a gallon of water right now and then hold it in front of your chest. Sit down on a chair, stand up. Sit down on a chair, stand up. Sit down on a chair, stand up. Everyone can do it. I think they should do it right now.
Yeah, grab your gallon of water, do some training, lift some weights, get some dates. As always, listeners, we thank you so much for listening. Please, please, please subscribe to our channel, give us a 5-star review, and check out the show description where you can get matched with a personal trainer. You can try us for 2 weeks, 3, capital F-R-E-E. Stay tuned for more content.
Thank you for listening. Bye.